As we continue to honor the local legend, I am joined here by Bill McGee, who first met D'Angelo back in 1988. He was just 13 years old. You were a band director and you quickly realized that this kid had some talent. So what was your first impression of D'Angelo?
I was amazed. We did a concert, my band called the K Band from the high school did a concert for kids in Festival Park. And Michael performed, and he was doing the Splits, and he was doing Prince and James Brown and Michael Jackson. And I was just amazed. So I asked his mother, I said, can I include your son in on our talent show? And she said, sure. And he really, I mean, he gets to perform with the big kids now. So that was my first meeting him. And we stayed in touch over the years from time to time. He was such a fantastic young performer, even as a young child. 13, he loved Michael Jackson and Prince and James Brown. So, that's where he was. He was that type of dynamic performer.
That's incredible. And, everyone who consumes his art really can tell that he's a little bit different than your typical R&B artist. What really set him apart to you?
Well, his gospel background with his family, and they had a very tight family. His brother Rodney and Luther, I knew them all because they were, always involved with him. And I just send out prayers for them and Michael, his son. I also had worked with Angie Stone even before working with D'Angelo. And so he had a gospel background. His father was a minister, and he had grown up in church. So he combined all of that R&B stuff, the James Brown, Prince, and Michael Jackson with his gospel background. And that's what made him the superstar he was.
Yeah, that is soul right there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory? Is it that day at the festival back when he was 13 doing the Splits, or later on in your friendship?
No, later on, believe it or not, he called me up. My group, we had been produced by Fred Wesley, who was the music director for James Brown and became real, a big star himself. And so D'Angelo was reading his book called Hit Me Fred. And he called me up and he said, man, I didn't know you knew Fred Wesley. So he was a student of history, of R&B history and everything else. And, I told him, I said, yeah, well, yeah, I did some things too, even before I became a teacher in the music industry. And he was just enamored by that, the fact that one of his mentors had been involved in the music industry. So he called me up and he just wanted to talk about that. That was one of my favorite, just to have him do it. And then when I heard him talking to Nelson George at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and it's on, on the internet right now, he talked about the fact that when he was here in Richmond and he was on our talent show, he was encouraged to do better by the older kids we had some performers, a young man named Poo Poo, who was a very dynamic performer and dancer, and he was really well known here in Richmond. And Michael always said he knew that he had to bring his A game when he came to our talent show.
Right.
He had to step his game up. And he said that. He said that was what propelled him to be a great performer, that he had the experience. Our talent show was unique. We did our last 3 years at the mosque, and we had the highest, it was the most popular talent show in the history of Virginia because it was all students, and we sold out the mosque 3 years in a row with no headliners.
Wow.
We filled the mosque with a high school talent show for 3 years in a row.
And his talent was there, and it certainly left an impact.
Right. And then he came back in 1995 and performed for free when Brown Sugar came out.
Wow.
So he gave back to the community. It's not like he forgot us. I had moved on and they honored me because I had moved on. I was teaching college and not high school anymore. And they called me back and honored me that year. Haywood McCallum was the person who continued the talent show on. And he was my partner when we put it on. Anyhow, he was the choir director. I was the band director. And he called the record label and asked them, could Michael just come and say a few words? They sent a tour bus full of musicians, and Michael performed for quite some time that night.
Wow, that is just incredible.
Giving back to the community.
Giving back. That's what it's all about. And
That's what it's
is
about.
you know, as we honor his memory.
Yes.
I think that's what's really going to stick with people. And I appreciate you, Bill, for coming today and sharing your memories of him. I know that in the days and weeks to come, people will consume his music and art and really enjoy it.
Yeah, we're going to miss him. He was a truly gifted. There would not be a Trey Songz or a Chris Brown had it not been for Michael D'Angelo Archer.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you
God
being
bless
here.
you too.
Well, tonight is 7 p.m.